What is going on, guys? Welcome back into another video. Now, with the launch of Guardian Games 2023, it brought a few new pieces of armor and a couple new weapons for us to get our hands on. Now, none of those items are more desirable to get in the game right now, in my opinion, than the new Guardian Games scout rifle, the Taraxippos. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you why this is one of the best Strand weapons you can strive to get in the game right now. We're also going to go over a few recommended God rolls for both PvE and PvP, so you can absolutely dominate in any activity you're doing for the remainder of Season 20. Now, before we get into it, if you're enjoying the content on the channel, feel free to hit that thumbs up and sub to the channel. It definitely helps me out, and I really appreciate all the amazing support. Now, to start things off, the Taraxippos is a kinetic legendary 200 round per minute Strand scout rifle that sports a base mag size of 15 and can be obtained by participating in the Guardian Games 2023 playlist, along with turning in medals at the tower podium and progressing through the best in class quest that you receive from Eva Levante in the tower. And with this weapon being a Guardian Games exclusive weapon, it is one of only 2 weapons in the game right now that does have the origin trait Classy Contender. Now, this trait is going to allow final blows with this weapon to grant class ability energy. Now, this is a pretty nice trait to use, especially for those of you trying to get your Hunter Dodge back, or your Phoenix Dive or Rift back, or maybe even your Titan Shield back, because it's going to allow you to get 5% of your class ability energy back on every kill you get with a weapon. Now, also, since this is an Amalon weapon, we are going to have the origin trait available as well, called Amalon Fluid Dynamics. Now, this trait is going to allow the weapon to have increased reload speed and stability from the top half of the magazine. Now, this trait is extremely viable as well, especially for those of you that like to constantly reload your weapon after a kill, because it's going to grant the upper 50% of the magazine up to 20 stability and 30 reload speed. Now, moving over to the perks that are available for the weapon, and with this being a Strand weapon, it does have some unique perks available on it that will synergize with your Strand builds, and we'll cover that here in just a moment. Now, in terms of barrel options for this weapon, especially with this weapon being a 200 RPM scout rifle, it does lack a little bit of range, so I think if you went with a barrel that gave you a little more range, like Hammer Forge rifling and or small board, I think both of those could play well in both PvE and PvP. I also do think that Arrowhead Break could be a nice option as well in PvP, because it's going to increase your handling speed and it's going to greatly control that recoil. Now, moving over to our magazine options, and I do think that there are a few that are pretty intriguing here for both PvE and PvP. I do think that accurized rounds could be great for PvP, but I do feel like a pinned mag might be the way to go for both PvP and PvE. It's got a lot of flexibility there. For those of you that want to improve the reload speed of the weapon, I do think that alloy magazine would be a great option along with flared magwell, because it's going to slightly increase that stability and give you the increase in reload speed. Now, moving over to our left column perks, and what's really going to make or break this weapon are these final 2 columns, and you could go with this first one here, No Distractions, which reduces flinch. I do think this is probably a little bit more viable in PvE. I don't really feel like I use this a lot on anything other than maybe a sniper rifle in PvP. It does have Outlaw available on it as well. This is flexible, obviously, between PvP and PvE, because it's going to decrease your reload time in between kills, which is great. Also, you could go with Zen Moment. Remember, Zen Moment did receive a buff this season, and it's actually really solid right now. It's going to reduce the recoil and flinch over time. Also, 4 times the charm could certainly be in play for PvE to improve your ammo economy. Also, moving target would be a great one as well. You could really use it in both, but I feel like this is more of a PvP perk since it's going to improve your strafe speed. Offhand strike is kind of a weird one here. I don't really know that I'm going to be looking into this one, but it could certainly be an interesting one to try out. And we also have gut shot straight, which could synergize really well with another perk that we'll talk about here in the right column in a moment. Now, moving over to our right column of perks that are available on this weapon, and there's only a few of them I really want to touch on here because I feel like there are a lot of bad perks here. The first one that I'm going to touch on is going to be Kill Clip, and I think this is flexible between both PvE and PvP. I think it shines a little bit better inside of PvP because it's going to allow us to reload after a kill to grant us increased damage. I also think that Encore could be in play for both PvE and PvP since it does improve our stability, range, and accuracy of the weapon. And we also have Hatchling available for this weapon since it is a Strand weapon, and this is going to allow precision final blows or rapidly defeating targets with a non-precision weapon to spawn a threadling at the target's location. And remember, this has the ability to synergize extremely well with some of our Strand builds that we've covered the last couple weeks. And the last perk I want to touch on in this column is going to be Explosive Payload. which is projectiles create an area of effect detonation on impact. Now, this could synergize extremely well with Gut Shot Straight, so we're going to have to test that out a little bit. I do believe this is the only weapon in the game that can roll with both Gut Shot Straight and explosive payload in both the left and right columns. Now, moving over to my recommended God Roll for PvE here, guys, and the one that I'm going to be in search of is going to be one with a barrel that has arrowhead break on it. The magazine I'm looking for is going to be a pinned mag. We're also looking for 4 times the charm in the left column and explosive payload in the right column, and a stability masterwork. I'm going to be using the origin trait Classy Contender here in PvE, along with a major spec mod. Now, in terms of my recommended PvP God Roll, I was lucky enough to actually land the roll that I was looking for after turning in some medals at the tower podium. And the roll that I'm talking about is one with arrowhead break. I also was able to land a pinned mag. You could go with like flared magwell if you want to increase your reload speed, but to me, a pinned is definitely the way to go. I was also able to land moving target, again is going to increase our strafe speed, and I was able to get kill clip on it, which is huge inside of PvP. Now, inside of PvP, I am using the Amalon trait, which I think is a little bit better, especially reloading after each kill, since you get that increased reload speed and stability on the top half of the magazine, along with a range masterwork, which we definitely need help with range on this weapon. And I also threw on a targeting adjuster to help us with target acquisition. Now, to wrap things up, I think the scout rifle is a nice alternative to the Hung Jury Adept if you weren't able to land a good roll on that one. It's a fairly easy weapon to get your hands on, since Guardian Games activities are going to be throwing these weapons at you at every turn. Also, it's got some unique perk combos available on it that definitely make this one of the best Strand weapons in the game right now. Now, as always, guys, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for this weapon, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I really value your guys' opinion, and I love to hear what you guys are using in game. Guys, thanks again for checking out this video. I really hope you're able to get your hands on the God Roll for this weapon, and it helps you through the rest of the Guardian Games, and I will plan on seeing you all in the next video.